Few foreign leaders also participated in the summit as guest countries. The red carpet has been rolled out for international dignitaries.
If you're just joining us now, international dignitaries are arriving at a red carpet rolled out for them at the Duan-wu Gate.
Now here comes Kamel al-Wazir, the presidential envoy of the Arab Republic of Egypt, and he's also the deputy prime minister of Egypt. Now a full shot of the Duan-men Gate, where international dignitaries are arriving for the commemoration that's going to take place in a little over an hour.
Duan-men Gate is the first gate to the north of the Tiananmen rostrum. The south square of Duanmen, where important national ceremonies are held, is located between Duan-men Gate and Tiananmen.
Now here comes Kamel al-Wazir, the presidential envoy of the Arab Republic of Egypt. He's also the deputy prime minister of Egypt. China and Egypt have been engaged in close interactions. The two established diplomatic relations in 1956. Next year marks the 70th anniversary of diplomatic ties. The two nations agreed to deepen their comprehensive strategic partnership last May. And bilateral trade reached over $17 billion in 2024. Now, as two nations with ancient civilizations, they're also increasing their exchanges.
The next guest has arrived. He is Atanas Zafarov, Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Bulgaria and chairperson of the Bulgarian Socialist Party. He is now walking the red carpet from the north square of Duanmen Gate to the south square. China and Bulgaria have a deep traditional friendship. Bulgaria is the world's second country to establish diplomatic ties with the People's Republic of China. The two nations raised ties to a comprehensive, friendly, cooperative partnership in 2014 and to a strategic partnership in 2019. The strategic partnership has deepened between the two countries. Walking towards us is the Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Singapore, Gan Kim Yan. In 2023, China and Singapore established an all-round, high-quality, future-oriented partnership. Bilateral relations are stable and cooperation is extensive. During World War II, Japan invaded Singapore on February the 15th, 1942. The occupation lasted for 3 years and a half. Singapore has designated every February 15th as its Total Defense Day. It's a day when the nation commemorates its sacrifices during the war.
On the red carpet now is Maria Fernanda Ley, President of the National Parliament of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. China and Timor-Leste enjoy traditionally friendly relations. Timor-Leste announced its independence on May 20th, 2002. China established diplomatic relations with Timor-Leste on that same day. And in 2023, the two countries elevated bilateral ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. They reached consensus on the overall direction to build a China-Timor-Leste community with a shared future in July last year. And this February, the first direct flight was launched between the two nations.
Now comes Jorge Rodriguez, President of the National Assembly of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. China and Venezuela are good partners that seek mutual trust and common development. The two nations enjoy an ironclad friendship. China and Venezuela elevated their ties to an all-weather strategic partnership in 2023. Both sides maintain frequent exchanges at all levels and have witnessed a growing trade volume. Next is the acting president of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, Min Aung Hlaing. China and Myanmar enjoy long-standing friendship. The two countries established diplomatic ties on June 8, 1950, and this year marks the 75th anniversary. The two countries have steadily advanced their friendly relations. They are actively building the China-Myanmar community with a shared future. During World War II, Chinese expeditionary forces fought Japanese aggressors in Myanmar, then known as Burma. They safeguarded the passage to southwestern China and supported the people of Myanmar in their fight for independence.
And next is Speaker of the National Assembly of the Republic of Korea, Woo Won-sik, and his wife. China and South Korea are neighbors and cooperative partners. The two countries established diplomatic ties in 1992 and elevated relations to a strategic cooperative partnership in 2008. China is the largest trading partner of South Korea. South Korea is the second largest trading partner of China. The two countries have 228 pairs of sister provinces and cities. The Chinese people fought side by side with the Koreans to resist Japanese aggression and colonialism. The old site of the Provisional Government of the Republic of Korea has been preserved in China.
Next is President of the Republic of Maldives, Mohamed Muizzu. The president made his first state visit to China in January 2024 and was the first foreign leader to visit China that year. The two heads of state upgraded their relations to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership. Trade cooperation between the Maldives and China began in 1981. Since then, they have maintained good momentum, with tourism a significant part. Chinese tourists comprise the biggest share of Maldives' international tourism. They have expanded exchanges and cooperation in key sectors such as education, culture, and health. Now, Prime Minister of the Republic of Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan. Also accompanying him is his wife. China and Armenia have maintained healthy and stable momentum in bilateral ties since establishing diplomatic relations in 1992. Their ties were upgraded to a strategic partnership on August 31st, when Chinese President Xi met with Prime Minister Pashinyan in Tianjin. In 2024, bilateral trade rose 15% to $1.8 billion. In January 2020, their mutual free visa policy took effect. The two nations enhanced their connectivity by launching their first direct civilian flights in September 2024.
Walking on the red carpet right now is the Prime Minister of the Slovak Republic, Robert Fico. In 2024, he paid a visit to China as the two sides celebrated the 75th anniversary of diplomatic ties. And during that visit, China and Slovakia elevated their relations to a strategic partnership. China and Slovakia have maintained a positive momentum in the development of their relations and steadily expanded their cooperation in various fields. Slovakia was a guest of honor in the 4th China Central and Eastern European Countries Expo in Zhejiang Province this May. And as the Second World War dragged on, the Slovaks launched a resistance movement against Nazi Germany. With unremitting courage and determination, the Slovakian people contributed to victory in the World Anti-Fascist War.
If you're just joining us here on CGTN, you're looking at live pictures of the Duanmen Gate near Tiananmen Rostrum, where international dignitaries have been arriving. We've been tracking the arrival of heads of state and government for you right here on CGTN. And the motorgates keep pulling up. International dignitaries are arriving at the red carpet rolled out in their honor.
And some of the guests attending today's commemoration previously attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin, which just concluded in the northern port city. And in that summit, the leaders jointly issued the Tianjin Declaration.
Now comes the president of Mongolia, Ukhna Hurosa, and his wife. China's land border with Mongolia is the longest at 4,710 kilometers. The two countries have been deepening mutually beneficial cooperation over the past 70 years since they established bilateral ties. They have achieved a rapid development and significant outcomes in relations in more than 2 decades. China has been Mongolia's largest trading partner and investor. Bilateral trade reached over $18 billion in 2024, 10% higher than the previous year.
And this is the president of Turkmenistan, Serdar Berdimuhamedov. In 2023, China and Turkmenistan established a comprehensive strategic partnership and announced that they will build a community with a shared future at a bilateral level. Trade volume has reached nearly $5 billion in the first half of this year. China and Turkmenistan have jointly built 3 gas pipelines connecting China and Central Asia. Cultural exchanges between these two countries are frequent. The Chinese language is taught in elementary and middle schools in Turkmenistan.
On the red carpet now, our first Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Cuba and President of the Republic of Cuba, Miguel Diaz-Canel, and his wife. Cuba was the first country in Latin America to establish diplomatic ties with the People's Republic of China. This year marks their 65th anniversary. In the past 65 years, China and Cuba have always trusted and supported each other, setting an example for unity and cooperation between socialist countries and mutual assistance with sincerity among developing countries. In World War II, Cuba provided military support and supplies to the Allied forces.
Now on the red carpet is President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Sadir Japarov. China and Kyrgyzstan are connected by mountains and rivers, and the two peoples are connected heart to heart. Their relations have seen great development in recent years. In 2023, the two countries established a new era all-round strategic partnership and announced the building of a China-Kyrgyzstan community with a shared future of good neighborliness and shared prosperity. China is Kyrgyzstan's largest trading partner. Bilateral trade in the first half of this year has increased by 53% from a year ago to over $14 billion. You're watching live pictures now from the Duanmen Gate, where international guests are arriving for a welcome ceremony here. And now we are seeing pictures of the President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, Ilham Aliyev, and his wife. President Aliyev has visited China several times. China-Azerbaijan ties have been close despite the long distance and have strengthened in recent years. The two countries have had close, high-level communications in recent years. This April, the two heads of state announced a comprehensive strategic partnership between China and Azerbaijan. And on the red carpet now are Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, and his wife. China and Malaysia have long-standing friendships. And of course, this friendship is born out of their long history, cultivated by cultural integration, strengthened in mutually beneficial cooperation, and forged in difficult times. In April, they agreed to build a high-level strategic China-Malaysia community with a shared future. During World War II, overseas Chinese in Malaysia launched a fundraising campaign for China's war of resistance against Japanese aggression. Over 1,000 Nanyang volunteer mechanics and drivers sacrificed their lives while transporting military supplies on the Yunnan-Burma highway to the front lines in China.
Now you're looking at live pictures at the Duanmen Gate, where international dignitaries are continuing to arrive for a red carpet that's rolled out in their honor. The Duanmen Gate is just north of the Tiananmen rostrum. On the red carpet now is Tonglun Sisilith, General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party Central Committee and the President of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. China and Laos have a long history of friendship. They're good neighbors and comrades. They have deepened exchanges and cooperation in fields such as politics, economy, military, and culture and health. They also coordinate and cooperate closely in regional and international affairs. Bilateral trade cooperation has expanded in recent years. China is Laos's biggest investor, second exporter, and second largest trading partner. The China-Laos Railway has earned the name of the Golden Passage due to record volume of passengers and freight.
We're watching live pictures from the heart of Beijing, from inside the Forbidden City, the Duanmen Gate, where the red carpet is rolled out for international dignitaries attending the commemoration to mark the 80th anniversary of China's victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, as well as the World Anti-Fascist War.
Heads of state and government are continuing to arrive at Duanmen Gate. This is just north of the Tiananmen rostrum. It's a short walk to the Tiananmen rostrum.
China held another commemoration to mark its V-Day 10 years ago in 2015. And it was in that commemoration that heads of state, as well as leaders from international organizations, also attended. And this is certainly a show of solidarity. And we're moments away now from the commemoration. It's going to begin in less than an hour.
And now the next guest has arrived. The President of the Republic of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, and his wife. President Vučić has always promoted China-Serbia cooperation and exchanges. The two nations are advancing the high-quality development of a China-Serbia community with a shared future. They are ironclad friends who help each other in hard times. 80 years ago, people from the two nations significantly contributed to the victory of the anti-fascist war in the battlefields of Asia and Europe. China and Serbia have trusted and supported each other for a long time.
On the red carpet now is President of the Republic of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahman. President Rahman is an old friend of China and the Chinese people. He's been to the country more than 20 times. China-Tajikistan relations are at their best with frequent high-level exchanges. Last year, the two countries announced a comprehensive strategic partnership. And from this higher starting point, they will build a China-Tajikistan community with a shared future. Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. Pakistan was one of the first countries to recognize the People's Republic of China. The two are ironclad friends and all-weather strategic cooperative partners. They are deepening their strategic mutual trust and practical engagement. And China has been Pakistan's largest trading partner since 2014. China is also the largest foreign investor in Pakistan.
Next, the President of the Republic of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko. This is Lukashenko's 16th visit to China. China and Belarus have treated each other with sincerity and trust. As all-weather, comprehensive strategic partners, the two have maintained close, high-level exchanges and achieved milestones in their expanded bilateral cooperation. On May the 9th, the Chinese PLA Guard of Honor attended the military parade in the Belarusian capital of Minsk to commemorate the victory of the former Soviet Union's Great Patriotic War.
President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa. In 2024, President Mnangagwa made a state visit to China and attended the China-Africa Cooperation Forum Summit in Beijing. He did his military training in China in the 1960s and had a deep bond with the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The two countries and the two parties share similar thoughts.
Now, President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Masoud Pezeshkian, and his daughter, Zahra Pezeshkian. China and Iran have a long-standing friendship. In their 54 years of diplomatic ties, their relations have always been stable and healthy. In 2016, Chinese President Xi Jinping made a state visit to Iran. The two countries established a comprehensive strategic partnership. Next is the President of the Republic of the Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso. Among African leaders, he is one of those who has made the most visits to China and met with Chinese President Xi Jinping. The two heads of state have a deep friendship. The Republic of the Congo is China's ironclad friend. Bilateral ties were upgraded to a comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership in 2016. The two countries marked the 60th anniversary of diplomatic ties last year, when President Sassou was in Beijing for a state visit in the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit. Next, the King of Cambodia, Norodom Sihamoni. China and Cambodia have enjoyed long-standing friendship. The two peoples have interacted for their mutual benefit. This April, they elevated bilateral relations to an all-weather China-Cambodia community with a shared future in the new era. It's the first time China has upgraded ties with a Southeast Asian country to such a level.
And walking on the red carpet are President of the Republic of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, and his wife. President Mirziyoyev has been to China many times. Friendly cooperation between the two peoples has been vigorous under the Silk Road spirit. And last year, China and Uzbekistan established an all-weather comprehensive strategic partnership in the new era. And they have announced to advance the building of a China-Uzbekistan community with a shared future. President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, Luong Nguyen. China and Vietnam share a long history. They are comrades and brothers. And the founding father of Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, joined and supported the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression in places such as Yan An, Guilin, Chongqing, and Kunming. This year is the 75th anniversary of their diplomatic ties. It's also the year of cultural exchanges between the two sides. And China and Vietnam have deepened their relations in recent years with frequent visits and contact between leaders of the two countries.
And now, Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Ali, and his wife. Connected by mountains and rivers, China and Nepal have a long history of friendly exchanges. This year is the 70th anniversary of their diplomatic ties. The two countries have seen healthy and stable development in bilateral relations and strengthened political trust. China and Nepal have also expanded cooperation in various fields and under the Belt and Road Initiative. In 2019, their relations were upgraded to a strategic partnership of cooperation featuring everlasting friendship for development and prosperity. And this partnership continues to deepen.
And again, CGTN is bringing you live pictures from the heart of Beijing, the Duanmen Gate, which is to the north of the Forbidden City.
On the red carpet now, President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev. China and Kazakhstan relations have been tested by changes and challenges, but they always remain at a high level. China and Kazakhstan raised bilateral ties to a permanent, comprehensive strategic partnership in 2019. In 2022, they pledged to build a community with a shared future defined by lasting friendship, a high degree of mutual trust, and sharing weal and woe. In June, Chinese President Xi Jinping was in Kazakhstan for the second China-Central Asia Summit. There, the leaders agreed to forge a China-Central Asia spirit of mutual respect, mutual trust, mutual benefit, and mutual assistance for the joint pursuit of modernization through high-quality development. The two countries have achieved milestones in educational, cultural, scientific, and technological cooperation. The two countries have 26 pairs of sister provinces and cities. Beijing and Astana, their capitals, are sister cities. Next is the General Secretary of the Workers' Party of Korea and President of the State Affairs of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, Kim Jong-un. China and the DPRK established diplomatic ties on October 6, 1949. The DPRK was one of the first to establish ties with the People's Republic of China. Linked by mountains and waters, China and the DPRK are friendly neighbors. This year also marks the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation. The two peoples supported each other in hard times and through war. They jointly fought against Japanese aggression and made significant contributions to the World Anti-Fascist War and the cause of justice of humanity. The traditional friendship between the two countries was cemented by the old generations of their leaders. Their friendship, also forged in bloody and fiery revolutions, has developed in the process of their socialist construction and is priceless. In recent years, General Secretary Xi Jinping and General Secretary Kim Jong-un have maintained communication through various means. They lead and guide bilateral ties into a new historical phase.
At the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping, dozens of heads of state and government will attend today's commemoration in Beijing. On September 3rd, China marks its V-Day, and this is the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
Again, another look at the Duanmen Gate just north of the Tiananmen rostrum. The red carpet has rolled out to welcome the arrival of international dignitaries. We've been tracking the arrival of heads of state and government for you right here on CGTN. One by one, their motorcades pulled up, and the leaders arrive for the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
A commemoration ceremony and a grand military parade are going to take place on Tiananmen Square and along Chang'an Avenue in less than an hour. We have different teams of reporters covering this event for us.
Obviously, the military parade will be the highlight of the day and the highlight of the commemoration. We do understand that new armaments and equipment will be shown in that military parade. They are domestically made, and also they are all active combat gear. And at this moment, the Tiananmen Square is decorated and ready for the commemoration.
Troops and armaments, as we speak, are lining up along Chang'an Avenue. They're ready for the inspection of the Commander-in-Chief. Motorcades carrying heads of state, international dignitaries are arriving here at the Duan Gate. On the red carpet right now is President Prabowo Subianto of the Republic of Indonesia. He arrived early this morning, and China welcomes his arrival. He's here at the invitation of Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, under the strategic guidance of the two heads of state, China and Indonesia have opened a new chapter of jointly building a community with a shared future. During World War II, Chinese people living in Indonesia donated money and supplies. Many of them returned to China to join the resistance and became heroes. Renowned Chinese writer and anti-fascist intellectual Yu Dafu traveled to Southeast Asia to join the resistance. And he was killed in Sumatra, Indonesia. He wrote, "Our generation should sacrifice for the war of resistance." President Prabowo made a state visit to China soon after his presidential inauguration in 2024. China and Indonesia are traditional friends and neighbors. And it was in this year that China and Indonesia embarked on a new chapter of bilateral ties by building a community with a shared future.
International dignitaries are continuing to arrive at Duanmen Gate, just north of the Tiananmen rostrum in the heart of the Chinese capital. There, a red carpet has been rolled out in honor of the visiting dignitaries. They are heads of state and government who will be participating in the commemoration today of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. Later on, a military parade will take place on the Chang'an Avenue, an east to west major thoroughfare, cutting right through the heart of the Chinese capital, Beijing. CGTN will have full coverage of the commemoration today. Make sure you do stay with us right here on CGTN. We've been tracking the arrival of international dignitaries right here on CGTN for you. They're now arriving at the Duanmen Gate, just north of the Tiananmen rostrum. A red carpet has been rolled out for them.
That's right. And the Duanmen Gate is where this reception is taking place. We're seeing another limousine. President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin. Putin has been to China many times since 2013, either for state visits or international conferences. Relations between China and Russia are at their historical best. Their ties are characterized by long-term friendly good neighborliness and mutually beneficial win-win cooperation. In the new era, China-Russia relations are more self-confident, firm, and resilient. From May 7th to 10th, President Xi Jinping made a state visit to Russia and attended commemorations in Moscow of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Soviet Union's Great Patriotic War. In World War II, China was the main battlefield in Asia, and the Soviet Union was the main battlefield in Europe. They were central to resistance and combat against Japanese militarism and Nazi Germany. They made decisive contributions to the victory in the World Anti-Fascist War. China and Russia are expanding mutually beneficial cooperation in all aspects. Bilateral trade has reached a high of over $244 billion last year. And China and Russia have active cultural exchanges and close cooperation at local levels. They have 168 pairs of sister provinces and cities, and there are also dozens of provincial-level economic partnerships.
Remembering history, honoring the fallen heroes, cherishing peace, and creating a better future. This is our special program commemorating the 80th anniversary of the victory in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. International dignitaries have now arrived and are meeting the Chinese president and his wife.
Good to see you again.
As we're watching right now, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Madame Peng Liyuan are welcoming international dignitaries at the South Square of Duanmen Gate.
Nice to meet you. Welcome to China.
These are heads of international organizations that are walking down the red carpet to be received by the Chinese president and his wife.
That's right. And a decade ago, on September 3rd, it was also here where Chinese President Xi Jinping and his wife, Madame Peng Liyuan, welcomed international guests to the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
吉安条约组织秘书长、独联体秘书长、欧亚经济委员会执行委员会主任。
Many of the guests attending the commemoration today previously attended the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Tianjin, which concluded just a few days ago.
That's right, and President Xi says the SCO is a proactive force for world peace and development. It is the first grouping to put forth the vision of global governance, featuring extensive consultation and joint contribution for shared benefit as an effort to practice true multilateralism. He also said the SCO always stands on the side of international fairness and justice, and champions inclusiveness and mutual learning between civilizations and opposes hegemonism and power politics.
新加坡副总理严金勇。
And also at that Tianjin summit, President Xi proposed the Global Governance Initiative. He called on members to adhere to sovereign equality, abide by international rule of law, practice multilateralism, advocate the people-centered approach, and focus on taking real actions.
The Chinese president and his wife greeting the international dignitaries that have arrived in Beijing for the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War.
越南国家主席梁强
Now we're watching live pictures from the heart of Beijing, the
伊
Duanmen
朗总统及
Gate
女
to the
儿
north of the Forbidden City. Dozens
Miang
of
Lai
heads of
Dai
state and leaders of international organizations are arriving on the red carpet. And in about half an hour, the commemoration ceremony will begin
很高兴再次见到
on
您。
习
Tiananmen
总统
Square.
和夫人
As part of this commemoration, a grand military parade will also take place. Troops and armaments are standing by ready along Chang'an Avenue as we speak.
津巴布韦总统姆南加古瓦
Welcome to China。很高兴再次见到您。
刚果布总统萨苏 哈萨克斯坦总统托卡耶夫
It's early morning in Beijing. CGTN is broadcasting live to a global
Thank you for
audience.
being here。
亚美尼亚总理及夫人
The president is saying to his guests, welcome, welcome.
米尔基耶夫总统和夫人
昨天的会见非常好。
And as
卢卡申科总
these
统
international guests are arriving, later on they will pose for a group
阿
photo.
赫蒙总统
And here's what we know about the commemoration that will happen later today. The Chinese president will deliver an important speech at the commemoration. And the commemoration includes a massive military
很高
parade,
兴再次见到您。
which is composed of two parts, the inspection of the troops and the march past, lasting approximately 70 minutes.
Welcome to China。
总书记
The Chinese president and his wife welcoming guests arriving for the commemoration. And now they're walking towards a group photo where the arriving international dignitaries will take a group photo together with the Chinese president.
We are certainly marking a significant anniversary today on September 3rd. China is commemorating the 80th anniversary of the victory
This gathering today in commemoration of the victory also heralds a new beginning for all countries to work together to create a harmonious world and safeguard global peace.
Well, as you can see right there, front and center on this gate is the character Duan Men. The Chinese character Duan also conveys righteousness, which is consistent with the message of safeguarding international justice.
The leaders are now walking together towards the Tiananmen rostrum. It's a short walk from the Duanmen Gate we've been telling you about, which stands just north of the Tiananmen rostrum, to the rostrum itself.
And Joshi, you know, for many foreign leaders who have visited China before, the Tiananmen rostrum, or the Forbidden City, is a familiar sight. Many of them have been here before to the Forbidden City. However, this gathering here today holds a special significance.
Absolutely. The Tiananmen rostrum sits right in the heart of the Chinese capital with viewing platforms that can overlook the Tiananmen Square. The leaders will be walking towards the rostrum. They will ascend to the viewing platform on the rostrum and view the military parade together.
Now, as they walk on the red carpet to make their way to the top of the Tiananmen rostrum. A little bit of background information about the structure. It was built as a ceremonial gate to the imperial city in the Ming Dynasty. It's witnessed the ties of Chinese history in the past 6 centuries.
And in 1937, Tiananmen Square witnessed the fall of Peking. In October 1945, Japanese invaders in North China officially surrendered at the square of the Hall of Supreme Harmony in the Forbidden City.
Today's commemoration is certainly a big national event, a military event as well, as troops and armaments are standing by ready for the inspection. It is also a significant diplomatic event, as heads of state, leaders of international organizations are convening here to review the commemoration and the parade.
The leaders are making full use of this time as they walk together to the Tiananmen rostrum, engaging in friendly chit-chat and conversations.
And today, the Tiananmen rostrum, steeped in the depths of history, will again witness new glory. It is a pretty long walk to ascend to the top of the Tiananmen rostrum.
"80 decades ago, World War II ended with over 100 million casualties among soldiers and civilians worldwide. Chinese casualties were more than 35 million. And today is about commemorating the victory in that war, in the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression, as well as the World Anti-Fascist War. And now the leaders are arriving at that expansive viewing platform up on the Tiananmen rostrum.
And we understand that some of the veterans of the War of Resistance were given their own viewing spots on top of the Tiananmen rostrum. Crowds are welcoming China's top leader, as well as international dignitaries. We are seeing veterans sitting there, and President Xi Jinping and international dignitaries are shaking hands with a 99-year-old veteran, 100-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 94-year-old veteran from the 8th Route Army, 102-year-old veteran from the new 8th Route Army, and from South China Guerrilla Force, 100-year-old veteran from the Kuomintang. And during the fight against the Japanese aggression, the Chinese people established a national united front to safeguard their homeland.
Obviously, the Chinese president was very pleased to see the veterans present up on the Tiananmen rostrum. He even introduced the veterans to his guests there, shaking hands with the veterans, greeting them, welcoming them to this very important commemoration.
And the veterans represent the legacies of this long-fought war. And their spirit of resilience, of peace, of perseverance still echo on every inch of China's soil now.
It's certainly a very heartwarming scene there to have the veterans seated up on the Tiananmen rostrum. They are the real heroes and role models, and they motivate us to keep pushing forward. The victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression is a glory shared by the Chinese nation and also people worldwide who stand for justice. Professor Gao, Mr. Zhou, let's bring you in for this part obviously the veterans are seated, out there on the Tiananmen rostrum so that they have an opportunity to participate in the commemoration today. What do you make of that arrangement, Professor Gao?
Well, I think this is really the right thing to do because they fought against the Japanese aggressors. They shed their blood, and they have always been honored by the People's Republic, by the Chinese people, and now they are in the center of this reviewing process of the parade to commemorate the 80th year anniversary of the victory against Japanese aggression. And I think we all hail them as the real heroes, defending China's sovereignty and territorial integrity and fighting off the Japanese aggressors.
Real heroes and real witnesses,
heroes.
not only to the atrocities of the war, but more importantly to the final victory. And we're so happy that they get to see the commemoration today. Mr. Zhou, your thoughts?
Well, I think I can't agree more with Victor Gao about the importance of having these veterans standing on Tiananmen Square. I think it's rare, It won't be easy for us to see these people right now because they're all very old people, but they're still alive, but they can still see how strong China is today, in which they have made their due and a great contribution. So I think that is indeed a great honor for them to be there and for us to see them there.
Now, many of these veterans fought under extremely harsh conditions: poverty, famine, the lack of military resources. What does their perseverance teach us about the spirits of, resilience and courage? And, besides honoring them in events like this, what more could we do, Professor Gao, to really weave their legacies more into everyday life?
I think these veterans 80 years ago, or more than 80 years ago, fought against Japanese aggressors not only as soldiers, but they were true representatives of the Chinese nation, true representative of the Chinese culture and the Chinese civilization. In their bodies, I can see the most splendid and the glorious part of the Chinese civilization. So they became the epitome of the Chinese nation. They became the epitome of the Chinese civilization. And by shedding blood for their own motherland, by fighting off foreign aggressors, they set an example for the future generation. So now we honor them as our national hero, and the younger generation draw inspiration from these veterans and learn lessons from them, and we become redoubled in our commitment to defending peace and defending China and defending the Chinese culture and ultimately the Chinese civilization.
Obviously, we're commemorating this day. We're inviting veterans up on the Tiananmen rostrum to carry on this spirit of the war of resistance against the Japanese aggression. Mr. Zhou, how do we do that? How do we make sure that the spirit of perseverance, the spirit of never surrender, the spirit of defending your motherland lives on in today's world?
Well, these people are actually old soldiers, right? And old soldiers never die. So what they have left us are actually a litany of fine traditions. But if you look at the PLA today, you would find it so interesting to see that how small they were at that time and how ill-equipped they were at that time. But on the contrary, today, China is almost the opposite, right? China is having the largest armed force in the world, and in a moment we're going to see all the modern weaponry and combat platforms. But still, this kind of fine traditions are basically in the heart and in the blood of our modern-day soldiers, because that really, really matter, for us if you are going to another war. So you have to think of where you come from, right? And what kind of traditions are already placed in you. So these people basically are the very sources of a fine tradition.
How can remembering their sacrifices and contributions inspire values that are still relevant today? Professor Gao.
Well, I think they are the true Chinese nationals and our heroes. But allow me to mention, behind these veterans, I also see those who fell on the battleground, who really sacrificed their lives for the Chinese nation. So I think we not only see these veterans who are the true representative of those heroes fighting against Japanese aggressors, but they are also representatives of all the millions of the Chinese soldiers who shed their blood, who sacrificed their life, and they too become the national heroes for the current generation of the Chinese nation and the future generations. And I think by honoring them, we honor ourselves, we honor our national history and our Chinese civilization, and we honor peace. That is the most important thing.
You know, we talked about international solidarity towards ending the Second World War, and the international solidarity is also present today with the turnout of those international dignitaries that have arrived in Beijing. You're looking at live pictures of the Tiananmen Square that's fully decorated for the commemoration today. There are the year-marking installations that show the years 1945 and 2025. Today is September 3rd. In the capital, Beijing, the commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression in the World Anti-Fascist War will begin soon.
CGTN is broadcasting the commemoration live to global audiences. We're now watching live pictures from the Tiananmen Square. The commemoration is going to begin in just a moment.
State and party leaders Xi Jinping, Li Qiang, 赵乐际、王沪宁、蔡奇、丁薛祥、李希 and Han Zheng have come to the Tiananmen rostrum. Dozens of foreign politicians and dignitaries attend the ceremony at the invitation.
Also present on the Tiananmen rostrum are senior officials of the CPC Central Committee, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, the State Council, the Supreme People's Court, the Supreme People's Procuratorate, the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and the Central Military Commission. Retired leaders of the party and the state, some veteran soldiers who participated in the War of Resistance, representatives of Kuomintang veteran soldiers who had fought the Japanese aggression, family members of the Kuomintang high-ranking officers who had died in the War of Resistance, representatives of those who received awards for their service, and representatives of Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan compatriots, as well as overseas Chinese, are also present on the Tiananmen rostrum. And we could see the obelisk, the monument to the people's heroes.
The commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War now begins. Please all rise and stand at attention. Fire the gun salute.
An 80-gun salute is fired to mark the 80 years since the victory of the War of Resistance. The thunder of guns resembles roars of soldiers on the battleground. It is also like a song of triumph, transcending the time and space to tell our fallen heroes. China today is a great country with majestic mountains and rivers, and its people are full of pride and ambition.
Great changes have taken place over the 80 years from 1945 to 2025. Today, China is safeguarding world peace and contributing to the progress of human civilization with fearless strength and determination. The Great Wall symbolizes the unyielding spirit of the Chinese nation. This great nation never bows to any enemy or any force. Those who dare to invade us are doomed to crash into the Iron Great Wall with bloodshed.
Chinese people's deep love towards the motherland can be seen from the steadfast gaze of the honor guards. When their patriotism erupts like a volcano, there will be no insurmountable hurdles or unachievable feats for them. The wheel of history never stops. Under the strong leadership of the Communist Party of China, the Chinese nation, with a firm grip on its own destiny, is marching forward staunchly and proudly.
From the monument of the people's heroes to the national flagpole, and from the great victory to the great rejuvenation, the Chinese nation has walked a long way of innumerable difficulties and hardships.
This is a road to national independence and people's liberation. It is also a road to national dignity, prosperity, and strength, and a road to Chinese modernization and a global community with a shared future.
The national anthem, March of the Volunteers, which was born during wartime, will soon be played. It was written in 1935 in the early years of the war against Japanese aggression.
Raise the national flag and sing the national anthem. Please be seated. I invite General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, President of the People's Republic of China, and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Comrade Xi Jinping, to deliver an important speech. All my fellow Chinese across the nation, Your Excellencies, heads of state and government, and representatives of international organizations, distinguished guests, all officers and soldiers participating in the parade, comrades and friends. Today, we gather here to solemnly commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. It is an occasion for us to remember history, honor fallen heroes, cherish peace, and create a better future. On behalf of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, the National People's Congress, the State Council, the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and the Central Military Commission, I would like to pay high tribute to our veteran soldiers and comrades, patriots, and officers who fought in a war of resistance against Japanese aggression, and to the Chinese nationals from home and abroad who made important contributions to our victory. I would also like to express my sincere thanks to foreign governments and friends that supported and assisted the Chinese people in resisting.
参加今天大会的
I also extend a warm welcome
表
to
示
our guests
热烈
from
欢
around the
迎
world who are with us today.
同志们、朋友们，
Comrades and friends,
中国人民抗日战争
the Chinese people's
是
war
艰
of
苦卓
resistance
绝
against the
的
Japanese aggression
伟大战
was
争
the great war fought with tenacity
在
and
中国
valor
共产党倡导建立的
under the banner of the
抗日民族统一
National
战线
United
旗帜
Front
下
against Japanese aggression established at the initiative of the Communist Party of China, the Chinese people stood up to fight the formidable enemy with an iron will
取得
and formed a
近
great
代以
war
来
with flesh and blood to
反抗
defend
外
the
敌
nation
入侵
and
的
ultimately achieved
第
the
一次
first complete
完全
victory
胜利。
in resisting foreign aggression in modern times.
中国人民抗日战争
The Chinese
是
people's
世
war
界
of resistance
反法
against
西
the
斯战
Japanese
争的
aggression was
重
an
要
important
组成
part
部
of the
分
world anti-fascist war.
中国人民以巨大的
With
民
huge
族
national
牺牲
sacrifice, the Chinese people
为拯救
made
人类
major
文明
contributions
保
to
卫
saving
世界
human
和平
civilization and
做出
safeguarding
了
world
重大
peace.
贡献。历史警示我们，
History cautions us
人类命运休
that
戚与共，
humanity rises and falls together
各个国家、各个民族
only
只有平等
when
相
all
待
countries and
和
nations
睦相处
treat each other
守
as
望
equals,
相助，
coexist in
才
peace
能维
and
护
support
共
each
同
other,
安全，
can we uphold common
消灭
security,
战争根源，
eradicate the root cause of
不
war,
让历史悲
and
剧
prevent
重演。
the reoccurrence of historical tragedies.
同志们、朋友们，
Comrades and friends,
中华民族是不畏强暴
the，Chinese nation is the
自
great
立自
nation
强
that
的
is
伟大
never
民族。
intimidated by any bullies
当年
and always values
面对
independence
正
and
义与
forges
邪
ahead.
恶，光明
In the
与
past,
黑
when
暗，
faced with critical struggles
进
between
步与
good and
反动
evil,
的
light and
生死
darkness,
较量，
progress and reaction, the Chinese
中
people
国人民同仇
rallied
敌忾，
together to defy
奋起
the
反
enemy.
抗，为国家生存而战，
They fought for the
为
survival
民
of the
族复
country,
兴而战，
for the rejuvenation of
为
the
人
Chinese
类正
nation,
义而
and
战。
for justice of the whole humanity.
今天，人类又面临
Today,
和平还是战争
humanity again has to choose
对话
between
还
peace
是对
and
抗
war, dialogue
共
and
赢还是
confrontation,
零和的抉择。
win-win cooperation and zero-sum game.
中国人民坚定站在历史正
The
确
Chinese
一边，
people firmly stand
站
on
在
the
人
right
类
side
文
of
明
history
进步
and the
一边，
progress of human civilization.
坚持走和平发展道
We
路，
will remain committed to the path
与
of
各国
peaceful
人民
development
携手
and
构
join
建
hands with all
人类
peoples
命
around the
运共
world
同
in
体。
building a community with a shared future for humanity.
中国人民解放军
The Chinese People's Liberation
始终是
Army has been
党和人
and
民
will always be
完全可以
the
信赖
heroic
的
armed
英
forces that
雄
the
部队，
party and the people can fully trust
全军
and
将
rely
士
on.
要忠实履行神圣
All
职
service
责，
members should
加快
faithfully
建
perform
设
their
世界
sacred
一
duties,
流军队，
speed up the building of a
坚决
world-class
维护
military,
国家主权
and firmly safeguard
统一
China's sovereignty,
领土完整，
unity, and territorial integrity.
为实现中华民族伟大
All
复兴
service members should
提
provide
供战略支
strategic
撑，
support for the great rejuvenation of the
为世界
Chinese
和
nation
平与发
and make
展
greater
做
contributions
出
to the
更大
peace
贡
and
献。
development of the world.
历史承载过去，
History
也
carries
启
the
迪未
legacy
来。
of the past and inspires the future.
新时代新征程，
On a new journey in a
全
new
国各族
era,
人民
the Chinese people
要在中
of
国共
all
产党
ethnic
坚
groups
强领导
should,
下，
under the strong leadership of the Communist Party of
坚
China,
持马克思列宁主
follow
义、
Marxism, Leninism,
毛泽东
Mao
思
Zedong
想、
thought,
邓小平理
Deng
论，
Xiaoping theory, the theory of three represents, and the scientific outlook on development, and fully implement the thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for the new era. We should stay firmly on the path of socialism with Chinese characteristics and carry forward the great spirit of the war of resistance. We should press ahead with enterprise and resolve, and advance in unity the cause of building China into a great country on all fronts and realizing great national rejuvenation through China's modernization. The great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation is irresistible. The noble cause of peace and development of humanity will prevail. The military parade now begins. Markers in position.
The parade guards mark positions and boundaries at the parade ground. 60 soldiers will line up in front of the eastern and western ornament columns on the Tiananmen Square.
Marching with steadfast footsteps and imposing bearing, the ironclad troops showcase their unshakable faith, strong conviction, strict discipline, and firm commitment to their duties.
Standing firm on the ground of the motherland and bearing the hope of the Chinese nation, the heroic People's Liberation Army has forged ahead dauntlessly throughout wars, achieving great historic feats for the party and the people.
At this solemn moment today, the People's Armed Forces are ready for the inspection of General Secretary of the Communist Party of China's Central Committee, Chinese President, and Chairman of the Central Military Commission, Xi Jinping. They are also ready to be reviewed by the party and the people.
Comrade Chairman, the troops for review are fully prepared. Please proceed with the inspection. Chief Commander of the Parade, Han Zhengxuan. Let's begin.
In a typical back and forth, President Xi says, "Salute to you, comrades." And the soldiers reply, "Hail to Chairman." The president then says, "Comrades, thank you for your hard work." To which the soldiers reply, "We serve the people."
As you could hear right there, the phrase "serve the people" was written into the party constitution at the 7th National Congress of the Communist Party of China in 1945. Serving the people wholeheartedly was established as the fundamental principle of the party and the People's Liberation Army.
As President Xi's car rides past each segment of the troops, he greets the soldiers. The troops respond vociferously, paying respect and demonstrating their loyalty. These phrases are used in inspections, parades, and other military gatherings.
The PLA views itself not only as the defender of national sovereignty, but as an integral part of society with a direct responsibility to safeguard people's well-being. In peacetime, the Chinese military participates in missions that serve the people's interests, such as disaster relief. And all this has earned them the title, the most beloved people in China.
Now President Xi is heading back to the Tiananmen rostrum. When President Xi's car rides past the troops, the soldiers shout, "Follow the party's command, fight to win, forge exemplary conduct. Justice will prevail, peace will prevail, the people will prevail."
the party's command sets the military's political orientation. Fighting to win is the basic function of the military and the fundamental objective of its development. Forging exemplary conduct demonstrates the Army's nature and principle.
Justice will prevail, peace will prevail, the people will prevail. These three phrases were the closing lines in President Xi's speech 10 years ago, when the country marked the 70th anniversary of the victory of Chinese People's War of Resistance against Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War. The foot formations are now adjusting their lines. Vehicles and armaments are lining up. They will soon march to the Tiananmen rostrum.
The People's Liberation Army is known as the PLA. In 1927, its frontrunners were founded by the Communist Party of China. It was originally called the Chinese Workers and Peasants Red Army. This year marks the 98th anniversary of the founding of the PLA.
During the 14-year-long War of Resistance, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, the 8th Route Army and the new 4th Army, together with the Chinese people, defeated the Japanese forces and enveloped the invaders. They asserted their role in the battlefields and achieved victory in the war for national liberation.
Since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, the PLA has also undertaken the tasks of national defense and socialist construction, while transforming itself into a more revolutionary and modernized military.
Alongside the latest generation of conventional weapons, the parade will feature unmanned intelligence systems, underwater combat units, cyber and electronic forces, and hypersonic weapons, highlighting the PLA's growing capacity to harness emerging technologies, adapt to the evolving character of warfare, and prevail in future conflicts.
Just as China's weaponry has seen remarkable evolution over the years, the Chinese military has also continuously strengthened itself by reinforcing the primacy of political guidance and advancing comprehensive reforms.
China pursues a national defense policy that is defensive in nature. China will never seek hegemony, expansion, or spheres of influence.
Today, the PLA protects China and its people while making significant contributions to safeguarding world peace. It is the largest contributing country for peacekeepers among the permanent members of the UN Security Council.
China has formulated a three-step development strategy for modernizing national defense and the armed forces to achieve the centenary goals of strengthening the PLA by 2027, realize the modernization of national defense and the armed forces by 2035, and fully build the military into a world-class one by 2050.
The centenary objectives state that by 2027, China will accelerate the integrated development of mechanization, informationization, and intelligentization, accelerate the modernization of military theory, organizational forms, personnel, and weaponry, and prioritize quality and efficiency to enhance operational efficiency of military system, and optimize the utilization of defense resources and promote the synchronized growth of defense and economic strengths. Warplanes that form the aerial echelons will take off from several airports and fly over the Tiananmen Square.
A total of 45 formations and echelons are involved in the Grand Parade. During the parade march past, airborne flag-guarding echelons, foot formations, battle flag formations, armament columns, and aerial echelons will pass through or fly past Tiananmen Square in order. The parade is organized under a wartime command system and will involve thousands of troops, over 100 aircraft, and hundreds of ground armaments.
Commence the march past.
Flag guides the direction. The flag pulls strength. The march past begins with the airborne flag guard echelon.
Accompanied by impassioned military music, the flag of the CPC, the national flag of the People's Republic of China, and the flag of the People's Liberation Army are fluttering high in the air. 26 helicopters form huge numerical shapes of 8 and 0. 3 helicopters were bearing the banners that read, "Justice will prevail, peace will prevail, the people will prevail." These messages are a brave truce inspired by history, a solemn proclamation of the right course, and a clarion call in an era of peace and development.
The Chinese nation always cherishes peace and takes side with historical correctness, fairness, and justice. The People's Military will always be an iron great wall in defending national sovereignty, security, and development interests, as well as a pillar of world peace.
A total of 45 formations and echelons participate in the parade, and most of the weapons and equipment are shown to the public for the first time. It not only embodies the continuation of the heroic armed forces during the War of Resistance, but also demonstrates the new look of the people's military in the new era with enhanced political awareness and its new structure and force composition, new progress and modernization, and new achievements in enhancing combat readiness.
First to be inspected are 13 foot formations. After a comprehensive and deepened reform, the People's Military has formed a new system of services and arms. 4 service formations, 4 armed formations, and the formation of the Armed Police Force will be holding their respective flags to make a group debut during the parade. Holding high the party, national, and military flags, the formation of the Guard of Honor of the PLA is marching toward us. The People's Armed Forces, under the leadership of the CPC, are always the defenders of the country, socialism, and people's interests.
The Army formation is marching towards us as the earliest armed forces established and led by the party. The PLA Army fought the enemies fearlessly and achieved immortal feats through countless battles. In the new era, the Army is transforming itself fast to operate in multiple domains.
Now coming is the Navy formation. Breaking the waves and navigating to the deep blue, the PLA Navy has comprehensively strengthened its maritime deterrent and combating capabilities to safeguard peace and stability at the sea, moving fast to become a world-class naval force.
Coming up next is the Air Force formation. Building a strong Air Force has been the unremitting pursuit of the party and the people. Taking off in times of wars and sharpening its edge through battles, the PLA Air Force is making great strides towards integrating air and space capabilities and coordinating offensive and defensive operations.
Now under inspection is the Rocket Force formation. As a core force of China's strategic deterrence, the PLA Rocket Force serves as the strategic support of China's status as a big power and an important cornerstone to safeguard national security. It strives to become a modern armed force with both nuclear and conventional capabilities and able to deter wars in all battle spaces.
The Aerospace Force formation is making their debut in the parade. As a new domain, new quality force advocating peaceful utilization of space, the PLA Aerospace Force safeguards the lasting peace and common security of space and offers strategic support for being a great power in aerospace.
Also making its debut is the Cyberspace Force formation. China advocates building a peaceful, secure, open, cooperative, and orderly cyberspace. Through building a cyber Great Wall, China decisively safeguards its network security and sovereignty in the digital battlefield.
The Information Support Force formation is also making its debut at the Tiananmen Square. As a brand new strategic arm, the PLA Information Support Force is capable of capturing information heights, strives for innovation and development, and provides support to win informationized and intelligent wars in multiple domains.
Now receiving inspection is the Joint Logistics Support Force formation. From self-reliance during the War of Resistance all the way to becoming part of the synchronized operational systems and providing effective and precise assistance in the new era, the PLA Joint Logistics Support System has made new strides.
Now under inspection is the Armed Police Force formation. From metropolises to remote coastal areas, the People's Armed Police Force, either performing regular duties, handling emergencies, or engaging in rescue operations, is dedicated to safeguarding national security and social stability and ensuring people's well-being. Distinguished by its versatility and effectiveness in maintaining stability, the Armed Police Force is always a loyal guard of the party and the people.
Next comes the Reserve Force formation. New types of reserve forces have been fully integrated into the leadership and command systems of the military. They are ever prepared to fight and carry out the missions of the people's military in coordination with the active duty forces in the new era.
The Army and the people are the foundation of victory. Now marching forward is the militia formation. The militia women are from the major wartime counter-Japanese base areas across China. During the War of Resistance, Chinese people, regardless of their gender or ages, acted as one in safeguarding their homes. The red genes have passed on from one generation to another. In the new era, the militia forces provide backup services during peaceful time.
China has been contributing to maintaining world peace. The Peacekeeping Force formation is marching towards us. China is the largest troop-contributing country for peacekeeping among the permanent members of the UN Security Council. Having participated in UN peacekeeping operations for 35 years, the Chinese peacekeeping forces have confronted daunting challenges and fulfilled their missions. The forces have guarded world peace without hesitating to sacrifice their lives, and demonstrated through their action how China assumes its responsibility as a major power, making great contributions to building a community with a shared future for humanity.
With majestic bearing, the 7 combat groups of the armament formations, led by the Banner Formation, are ready to be revealed. Once utilizing inferior weapons during the War of Resistance, the PLA has accelerated to develop new weapons, including massively deployed killer heavyweight weapons, thus being better equipped to deter enemies and win the war.
The Banner Formation showcases 80 honorary banners of the hero unit troops, bearing glory from the past. The banners symbolize heroism and victory and will always propel the People's Army to forge ahead.
4 formations of the Land Combat Group are ready to be revealed. Marching towards us is the Ground Assault Formation, grouped in an arrow-shaped array. The Type 99B tank features strong striking abilities and powered with information. The Type 100 tank and Type 100 fighting vehicle are highly intelligent and capable of coordinated combat. The new generation armored of the PLA Army's ground assault forces demonstrate the strong ability of capturing strongholds with mobility and piercing fortification.
Coming up next is the Amphibious Assault Vehicle Formation, made up of amphibious wheeled armored assault vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, and self-propelled howitzers. Capable of storming the shoreline for assault with strong mobility and flexibility, they are key armaments for the Marine Corps to take the lead in landing operations and make key area seizure.
Marching towards us is the imposing airborne assault formation. Diverse airborne armaments in the formation are able to make long-distance air drop and provide heavy-equipped maneuvering support. They are sharp weapons for the Army to make rapid response and deep strike.
Marching forward is the formation of long-range artillery for subjugation and precision strike. The two types of 191 box-shaped rocket artilleries are capable of making strike and providing support, expanding the Army's capability in terrestrial battle.
Next to be reviewed are 3 formations of the Maritime Combat Group. First comes the carrier-based air defense weapon formation. Being reviewed are 4 types of armaments that compose a 3-dimensional system for air defense covering all ranges. The carrier-based laser weapons are strongly capable of precision destruction and consistent strike, defining the new landscape in maritime attack and defense.
The anti-ship missile formation consists of NG-15 missile and NG-19, NG-17, and NG-20 hypersonic missiles. The missiles can be deployed on multiple platforms, such as carrier-based aircraft, surface vessels, and submarines, featuring long-range strike, fast speed, and strong destruction. They're sharp weapons for striking enemies on the sea.
Now on parade is the underwater weapon formation. Light and heavy torpedoes, as well as torpedoes propelled by rockets, are able to strike vessels and destruct undersea targets. The new special-purpose naval mines can autonomously identify and attack targets. They are key forces for guarding strongholds and making waves in naval warfare.
Three formations of the Air Defense and Anti-Missile Operations Group will be inspected. Here comes the Early Warning Detection Formation. The 4 types of weapons that are being inspected are all new generations of domestically made, highly mobile radar. In group coordination, they can detect stealth aircraft and ballistic missiles far and near. They provide early warning for the country's airspace and aerial security.
Under review now is the Anti-Aircraft Combat Formation. It's a heroic unit which has accomplished glorious wartime feats. 6 types of ground-to-air missiles, including Hongqi-20, Hongqi-19, and Hongqi-29, are now being made public at Tiananmen. They can carry out multi-range and multi-layered anti-ballistic defense, capable of fighting against all range threats from the air.
Here comes the N-Team Drones formation, set to defend the low-altitude domain. It includes N-Team Drones missile and artillery systems, high-energy laser weapons, and high-power microwave weapons. The trio can work together to disable and destroy enemy drones.
Next to be reviewed is the Information Warfare Group, which consists of 3 formations. Driving towards us is the Cyberspace Combat Formation. The 4 types of equipment being inspected can command and control, detect and sense, and carry out cyber and electronic countermeasures in an integrated way. It is a new force that consolidates cyber defense and empowers joint force operations.
Here comes the Electronic Countermeasure Formation. 5 types of their key equipment are displayed. They can detect and monitor all frequencies and subdue the enemy forces precisely. They are capable of aerial and space countermeasures and disconnecting the enemy networks. They are a crucial force in securing victory on joint multi-domain battlefields.
Now we have the Information Support Formation. It is made up of vehicles capable of cloud computing, digital intelligence, forming air-ground networks, and integrating information on the battlefield. They can quickly establish new types of internet communication systems to support joint operations.
Next to be inspected is the Unmanned Combat Group, consisting of 3 formations. First, we have the Unmanned Land Combat Formation. These unmanned vehicles can carry out various tasks such as reconnaissance, assaults, mine and bomb defusing and removal, and squad assistance. They can be operated remotely and are able to move independently, work flexibly in groups, and make intelligent maneuvers. With them, the Army can make coordinated operations between manned and unmanned forces.
Now approaching is the Unmanned Maritime Combat Formation. Being reviewed now are new types of unmanned underwater vehicles and unmanned surface vehicles, as well as underwater mine deployment systems, which are capable of hidden deployment and blockade, independent target identification, and group-based attacks. They are extraordinary weaponry to win maritime combat.
passing by next is the Unmanned Aerial Combat Formation. The new models of weaponry include reconnaissance and strike drones, unmanned wing planes, unmanned air domination planes, and unmanned aircraft carrier-borne helicopters. Covering a wide range of space, they can attack in a way that is difficult to be detected and can automatically coordinate with one another, creating a new model of future-oriented aerial combat scenario.
The two formations of the Logistics and Equipment Support Group are to be revealed. The Logistics Support Formation consists of field ambulances, field hospital installations, fuel transport and refueling vehicles, and field hot meal providing system. They have greatly enhanced modern logistics support for the troops.
Among the equipment support formation are light repair vehicles, wheeled emergency rescue and repair vehicles, disassemble and assemble repair vehicles, and electromechanical maintenance vehicles. It's like an armored hospital for weapons and equipment.
Next to be inspected is the Strategic Strike Group, consisting of 4 formations. First, we have the Cruise Missile Formation, with naval, air, and rocket forces being organized into a joint group. The Changjian 20A, Yingji 18C, Changjian 1000 missiles can implement long-range precision strikes, creating multi-domain deterrence.
Speed is key to victory. Now we have the hypersonic missile formation. The new types of missiles, Yingji 21, Dongfeng 17, and Dongfeng 26D, can fly at an extremely high speed, excel at breaking through blockage, and hit targets with high precision. They're vital to victory during all-weather combat.
Coming up next for inspection is the first nuclear missiles formation. The heavyweight weapons in the group include Jinlei-1 air-based long-range missile, Julang-3 submarine-based intercontinental missile, Dongfeng 61 land-based intercontinental missile, and the new land-based intercontinental missile of Dongfeng 31. It's the first time that China showcases its nuclear force in land, sea, and air together. They are mighty strategic deterrents to safeguard national sovereignty and dignity.
Now coming to us is the second nuclear missiles formation. The Dongfeng 5C liquid intercontinental strategic nuclear missile can strike any target around the world with its extensive shooting range. It is capable of providing defense and deterrence at any minute. With these strategic heavyweight weapons in hand, China has forged the shield of peace to its safety. The People's Military are loyally fulfilling their duties to safeguard the nation and its people, as well as world peace. Air echelons will soon arrive for inspection. The aircraft featuring early warning and reconnaissance, long-range strike, aerospace control operation, strategic delivery, and logistics support will show the PLA's increasing air combat capabilities. First flying past is the echelon of early warning and command aircraft. The echelon of Hongjing 500A early warning planes and J-16 fighters, and the echelon of Hongjing 600 early warning planes and J-15T shipborne fighters pass through in turn for inspection. The development and deployment of the latest domestically made early warning aircraft has remarkably improved the PLA's capabilities in command and control, early warning and detection, and coordinated strike.
Now approaching is the echelon of special purpose aircraft. Under the escort of J-16 fighters, White 9 anti-submarine patrol aircraft, electronic reconnaissance aircraft, and radar jamming aircraft form the 3V formations. The deployment of the various types of special purpose aircraft has significantly increased the PLA's abilities in maritime and air reconnaissance, patrol and surveillance, and electromagnetic neutralization.
Closely following is the echelon of transport aircraft. Y-20A transport planes and Y-20B transport planes make up two V formations and are flying in a combat mode. New type multifunctional transport aircraft equipped with new domestically made engines feature long flight range, high loading capacity, and high speed. With the capacity of long-distance strategic delivery, they have carried out multiple major missions at home and abroad.
Now flying over is the echelon of bombers, composed of 3 V formations that consist of H-6N strategic bombers, H-6K bombers, and H-6J bombers. As a major force in long-range strike, the aircraft were capable of long-distance raid, patrol in a large area, and attacks outside its defense zone.
Now flying over Tiananmen Square is the echelon of 3 Yunyou 20A airborne refueling tankers, which are ready to refuel H-6M bombers, J-16 fighters, and J-20 fighters. The deployment of domestically made refueling tankers has enabled China's fighter planes to operate long-distance flights.
Now approaching are 2 V formations of fighter jets that include J-16D, J-20, J-35A, J-20S, and J-20A. With the fielding of multiple new type stealth fighters, the PLA is speeding up the fighter jets upgrades.
Now, above in the sky is the echelon of carrier-based aircraft composed of 2 V formations of J-15DH, J-15DT, J-35, and J-15T carrier-based aircraft. From ski jump takeoff to catapult takeoff, and from a single type to multiple models, China's carrier-based aircraft has undergone a leapfrog development.
Last flying past is the echelon of trainer aircraft. Seven J-10 aerobatics planes stage an aerial display of 14 colored smoke trails, symbolizing the 14 years of war of resistance against Japanese aggression and the bright prospects of over 1.4 billion Chinese people striving for national rejuvenation.
All markers fall out. Release the peace staffs.
Now we can see 80,000 doves flying into the sky. Let's honor our heroes, uphold justice, and safeguard peace. This land and people will forever remember the fallen heroes, whose spirits are immortal.
The commemoration of the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese People's War of Resistance against the Japanese aggression and the World Anti-Fascist War has now concluded.